Now, the next guy which we're looking at is carboxylic acids. Very interesting guy, okay? Let's see how we make them first, and then we'll look at the reactions. There are just two ways to make them, and these two ways are used to make different carboxylic acids. Let's talk about it. For the first thing is, when you have carboxylic acids that are just straight chain, okay? Straight chain carboxylic acids, then the way that we make them is we use primary alcohols and we oxidize primary alcohols. So if I have a primary alcohol like this, let me just put whatever it's going to be like, even if we make it go like that, okay? And then this guy, remember that it's nice and easy to see, because for your primary alcohol, your OH is on the very last carbon. You can see the very last carbon. That is where you have your OH. You don't have it like this, where you have it like this, then you have your OH on some inside carbon. No. The OH is on the last carbon for this, which is this one in this case, okay? So now we would say, if you come here with this and you just oxidize this primary carbon, you know that you'll be using KMnO4, and you oxidize it, you put some heat there, okay? Then what's going to happen is you are going to go all the way to a carboxylic acid. You go via a thingy. You go via an aldehyde. Like an aldehyde, we know that the OH just becomes a double bond O like this, okay? The OH becomes a double bond O, and then you keep oxidizing. Yeah, like with this, it keeps going with the same guy, just an oxidizing agent. This KMnO4, it doesn't stop here. It goes all the way till you now have a carboxylic acid. This becomes an OH, and some H here becomes an OH. Okay, this is a double bond O, and then some H becomes an OH. You understand? This is what you'll be having now. This is straight. So you have a double bond O, then this becomes an OH. This is now your carboxylic acid. So way one of making your carboxylic acid, what is it? It is to oxidize a primary alcohol. Okay, it's going to go all the way here. It is an aldehyde, but it's going to go all the way to a carboxylic acid, which means again that if I had an aldehyde, I can oxidize any aldehyde, okay, even if it was like this. We know that for an aldehyde, the double bond O is on the last carbon, which this time happens to be this one. We know that if I then just put KMnO4, it is going to go to a carboxylic acid again. If you oxidize it using KMnO4, okay, then it's going to go all the way to your carboxylic acid again. So it's going to be like this. This is still double bond O, but this O is now also an OH, okay? So this is what happens. This is how easy it is. So you'll be having your carboxylic acid. This is your carboxylic acid, okay? Now for your carboxylic acid, of course, when you name it, you just count the number of carbons. 1, 2, 3. So what is this going to be? Propanoic acid. So this is going to be propanoic acid. Where did it come from? Propanol. And from propanol, where did it go? It went to propanol, right? An aldehyde, propanol. Then we have propanoic acid, okay? Then now it's the same thing here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 though. So this would have been butanol, okay? Butanol, and then now it's going to be butanoic acid. How good is this? This is going to be butanoic acid. Now, these are the ways, okay? Using aldehyde and your alcohol just by oxidizing. So this is oxidizing a primary alcohol or an aldehyde, right? This is the first one. Primary alcohol or an aldehyde, okay? Now, what if I want to make benzoic acid? What if I want to make benzoic acid? What should I do? For benzoic acid, this is the second step now. For benzoic acid is when you have a carboxylic acid on your benzene ring. Now, you can't come from phenol and go direct to benzoic acid by oxidizing. No, that's not going to happen. You can't have that, like an OH, then you oxidize. No, it won't do that. You can't oxidize this to be a carboxylic acid. No. So what happens? You can only oxidize toluene, because benzoic acid looks like this. Benzoic acid doesn't just have a double bond O, then an OH. No. Because we know for benzene, only one thing can go here. There was just a hydrogen. So there's no way we can have a double bond there. No, we can't. We can't have a double bond there. So what happens is we first have to add a methyl, a toluene like that. Then we can now oxidize that. So that is the guy which we oxidize. We oxidize toluene, okay? That is why we learned about toluene and how to make him. We know how to make toluene. How do we make toluene? We said you add a CH3Cl and remember to have AlCl3, okay? And remember to have your AlCl3. This is what you add to your benzene ring. then you're going to get this guy, toluene. Okay, once you have that toluene, then what's going to happen is this C now is the one that will be converted to your carboxylic acid, C double bond O and OH. This is what happens, okay? That is exactly what happens, and that is how you get your benzoic acid. Benzoic acid is from what? From toluene. That is why we learned about him. That is why we talked about him in the last thing that did when we talked about the benzene ring. And this is going to be benzoic acid. Okay, this is going to be benzoic acid. How good is this? Now that you know how to prepare it, how to prepare benzoic acid and how to prepare the other carboxylic acids, let's talk about the reactions that carboxylic acids do themselves. Okay, the reactions that carboxylic acids do, how many do we have? Just two. Number one in reactions, let's come to reactions. Number one is going to be esterification. Esterification is your number one, which, I mean, everybody knows this one. So it's like you just have your benzene. We can do, and